Hey, this is a podcast. No, wait, it's a comedy podcast. Well, we tried to make it a comedy podcast, and it's not meant to offend anyone. So don't get offended, okay? And wait, there's something else. Oh, yeah. Listener discretion is advised. Kunal, why should people support us on Patreon? This has been keeping me up till 3 in the morning.
This is a good conundrum.
See, people can listen to this free also.
I mean, if you support us, then other people also get to listen to this craziness.
Yeah. And the thing is, you see, like sometimes in life, you look at a thing and this is like, you say, this is so bad. My God, this is so bad.
And how can I spread this? It's almost like a disease. And when you pay, the bottom line is that you don't suffer alone.
No.
You suffer with other listeners.
You motivate demotivators.
Yeah.
So you encourage us
To demotivate.
to demotivate you. And who else is doing that in life?
And why wouldn't you pay for such a service?
Enough people are paying, you pay to give you love, to give you things. How many people are paying to tell you that it's all shit?
And just that sense for the shitter things in life.
The truly shitter things.
Yeah. So we need your help and we need your support.
Yeah.
So please go to patreon.com/our last week and
Party.
Yeah,
Patreon.com/our last week.
that's the one.
Audiomatic presents Our Last Week.
Hi, Kunaal.
Hello, Pal.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm here with you in the flesh.
Nice, no?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Also, everywhere else in Bombay, it's totally flooded.
We're
in Bombay. We should tell our listeners. Hello, listeners.
Hello.
We are together finally in Bombay.
Yes.
And we're fortunate to have our producers, Akanksha and Avdut, in the room, the people that make this podcast happen. Funny, yeah. And with you are 9-10 listeners around the world who are probably not as wet as we are. Because
Unless they're really happy to see us.
unless they've gone and for some reason stood under a bath,
Yeah.
put on the shower, which is how I recommend you listen to this podcast.
In the shower?
I recommend get completely drenched and listen because no other podcast is telling you that. And you're looking at me quite skeptically, Kunal, as would the listeners be. I'm saying we want to be the world's first podcast where you are totally drenched when you listen to us.
I don't see it making much of a difference. Although, I mean...
Or
if you're-
orally, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to the number of laughs or the overall experience. I mean, you might catch
You know,
a cold.
I heard last week I've been a avid follower. You know, how do you listen? He said, I listen at home. How do you listen? I did totally wet. I get totally drenched. And I listen, yeah. I don't even wipe myself. I just put on the tap.
Oh, you're hardcore. Yeah.
I'm a proper listener, man. I just get totally drenched
Yeah.
and I listen. Have we drenched you? Yeah. But the reason we talk about water so much is because you just brought up something. State of the country currently,
Yeah.
particularly the capital of India, very, very wet.
Very wet.
Continuous. I mean, basically, Delhi, according to meteorologists, has been on red alert weather-wise for about a week now. Is there a color deeper than red?
Maroon?
Maroon.
It's that color on Google Maps which is red and then deep red. You know, when there's traffic and then there's
Yeah.
death. There's just traffic and then death.
There is a kind of
Yeah,
deeper
there's a
red.
deeper red.
I assume when you have that color, you can't get out of that.
No,
jam.
you can't. You're dead.
You'll die
It's
in
the
that
color
jam.
of death.
You'll die in the jam.
Yeah.
So Delhi weather is getting that color.
The deep red
that
color.
deep red. And the river Yamuna has breached its barriers over a number of
Well,
days,
the-
flooding quite a lot of Delhi.
Well, the river is what they call in spate. It is.
Oh, a beautiful word.
Yeah, it's
What does it mean?
it's in full bloom, so to speak.
The river is in spate.
Yeah, so it's.
I want to be in spate.
Yeah, I mean, you know that it
At
depends.
47, it's tricky to be.
Time of the month. It depends on what your cycle is. But anyway, the river
Yeah.
is basically. at capacity. It's the river is not flooding.
No.
The city is flooding.
The river was never
The
meant
river
to...
is doing what the river does.
Yeah.
The river is, and then people sort of build close to the river, but the river can get this full depending
Because
on what
it's
happens.
just going down its path.
It's doing its thing.
Yeah.
There's a city happens to be there around it.
Nobody told the river that we might build around you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I gotta go, man.
Yeah.
Gotta go when I gotta go.
This is something that happens with a lot of cities in like Bombay's faced it, Chennai, Bangalore,
Yeah.
Calcutta,
Yeah.
city of your birth.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of our drainage is still Victorian, I think.
yeah.
A lot of it's built by the British for their own benefit. You know how people say the British did everything for their own benefit. Yeah, but we live there now.
Yeah.
So some of it is our benefit. So parts of the city that were constructed after all the big cities have a bigger drainage problem.
They do have a big
Yeah.
drainage. So all that
This should be a drainage podcast only.
It's about drainage. Just
Yeah, come listen to us.
clean your pipes here.
Get wet.
Yeah.
Get wet with our last. And it should be our last week in drainage.
Yeah.
You know what happened in Mulund today? Kunal, with 3 sewers. Drain conundrums.
Drain related humor.
Yeah. So all our listener questions will be all drain and water supply related questions. I've been trying to flush for a week. But you know what happens. So, but your concern, I think I know where you're going with this. You
What?
have a concern. It seems like you have that look on your face.
No. My concern is that things tend to go to shit when you add water. I mean, generally,
Yeah.
like when there's that whole thing of just add water.
Like
to
in a soup.
In a soup, you get powdered soup, or you get like that ready Girnar tea where you just add hot water.
What do
get a
you do,
ready meal.
Kunal? You live in a country that has monsoon for 7 months. What do we do? Just add water is in our DNA.
Just add water.
Yeah.
And then everything gets screwed.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if any of our great songs have that in it.
There are lots of songs about pani.
Vande Mataram, something about water.
No.
Something.
It's,
We don't have enough water in our...
No, we do. In
Like,
our national anthem, there's water.
Is there reference to the monsoons? Is there reference to rivers?
There's reference to rivers. Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is I think all our great songs should have a line that says, and it's going to get pretty wet.
Yeah. I think everything when you like if you have a good record player or you have a good television or you have a like a lovely book, when you add water to them,
Gets
I guess
bad.
everything gets ruined.
Gets bad.
Everything.
But everything, I think everything needs to have some rain reference in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like Incredible India, that campaign. It should say bring an umbrella. Like Sholay. 2-3 rain sequences. Like we don't write the rain down, how much rain. We don't
Rain.
warn our people enough. Which is why I really respect Indian private meteorologists. Like there's a guy called Mumbai Weatherman.
Okay.
He just provides weather, right? Just basic weather of Bombay. It's going to rain, these kinds of clouds. And people just harass him.
What do they say?
Can my daughter go to school today? That's not his problem,
He's just trying to read the clouds and see the signs and wind pressure and air pressure here and
Cumulonimbus clouds.
yeah.
Exactly what you're saying. Exactly. Someone will write, there are 14 rickshaws parked here. Is this civic sense? What is he going to do?
He's trying to do one thing.
Correct. I'm going abroad. Sometimes people ask him, it says Mumbai weatherman. So I'm going to Bali next week. What's
What
the
is it
weather
like there?
He's not your personal weatherman.
Yeah.
That's between you and Bali. Like, what is your problem? So these are concerns.
Yeah, these are concerns,
These are
yeah.
major concerns.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is you don't really have a conundrum. You're
No.
saying adding water to India is
I'm just
spoiling
saying
it.
that, I mean, I don't really have anything to say here. Sometimes when you add water, it's a good thing. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you add water, it's a bad thing.
We should add water to this conversation.
Yeah, we should.
Someone should
उसमें-
flood us right now
Yeah.
to see if this is going to get any better.
किए कराए पे पानी फेरना.
Yeah, but then see,
That
people
we've
have
said
always
before, I
said,
think.
people always say that it's a Hindi phrase. I've done a lot of work and someone put water on it.
Yeah.
Now, what I've never understood about that phrase is sometimes pani zarurat hai.
Yeah, like what if
Like
I
if my
planted something?
kiya karaya is Maggie.
Yeah.
I've got the Maggie, I've put the powder.
Yeah.
Pani is essential.
Yeah.
So how do you know that water will only spoil things?
It could give it life.
It could give it everything.
Yeah.
I went to the bank.
Yeah.
Okay? And bank, there was a poster, okay, of a guy. And in banks have these different offers going on.
Yeah.
And my bank, Axis Bank, had this offer. It said savings rate 6%. And typically the photo that accompanies it, if it's a movie star, he's usually pointing to the 7% or the 6%. Right?
Yeah.
Right? In fact, you got to get in on that gig.
I need to.
But there's a bigger question on are you a trustworthy enough face
No.
to point to a fixed deposit percentage?
And for people to believe that they'll get that 6%.
I saw that Kunaal State Bank of India. He's
I
the
don't
model.
trust him. I don't trust him.
He's pointing to the 7%. I think he's not going to give us more than 4.5.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I went to Axis Bank, and basically, this wasn't a famous actor.
Right.
Just a regular model. He was with his wife, and they were at the opera or something, and it said, "Enjoy the good life now," with 7% from Axis Bank. And it was just him and his wife, etc. Now, clearly that was a model who had been paid a certain amount of money to do this gig. That same actor walked into the ATM. I was behind the guy, and it was this actor walking to the ATM, and there was a security guard sitting there. And the security guard couldn't believe that the man whose poster
He stares
he's been
at.
staring at says 7%, lead a good life, has actually walked into the bank.
It's a big day for him.
So that security guard was like, "Sir, aap khud aaye." And the guy was like, "Oh, मैं खुद आया हूँ." He's like, "Sir, आप यहाँ कैसे आ सकते हैं? How can you walk into a bank that has your own poster?" And he said, "अरे ये मेरा bank है." And so it got into a very awkward situation, and I realized my conundrum is, can you be a celebrity in a very, very small situation?
Yeah, of course.
Like
It's a
in
very
this,
tiny.
nobody at
listen.
the bank gave a shit. But here, it was between the security guard, that poster, this man, and me.
Because then, and the thing is that even within the bank, he won't be as big a celebrity as he is in that ATM room to that guard.
Just that room.
Because the guard, he wakes up and he sees this guy's face. He goes to sleep seeing this guy's face. So for him in that room
Yeah.
alone,
Yes.
he's a very big celebrity.
Huge.
So
He's
yeah,
the
I mean,
biggest star in that room.
yeah.
And he said, "Sir, aap yahan kaise?" It's like, of all the gin joints, you walked into this one.
Yeah.
And I feel like that guy, I don't know if he had a responsibility or something. He should have hugged the guy or something. Because he sleeps under his...
I mean, it's like that Cinderella moment, like you go to sleep looking at something and suddenly it's like, it's like a fairy godmother has just landed up there.
That guy
But
has
you
come.
expect more from that situation. I think that the guard would have been let down if he had said, "Sir, aap yahan," and the guy comes, hugs him and gives him 5 lakhs, and he says, "Ye dalo, 7% interest milega." I mean, that would have been,
Santa Claus.
that's the thing. It's like, because you see this guy's face, but here he must say, "Main hu, to kya hua?"
Yeah.
It's quite crushing.
Yeah.
It's quite
Jaldi mein
shattering.
hu. Hato.
Yeah,
Oh, so sad.
very sad.
I often think, what's the largest poster of yours that's ever been up?
Some hoardings, I guess. Some hoardings on the road, on the
How
highway.
big is your face? Like, could my body
Easily.
body have sort of fallen on your face?
Yeah,
like
your
this?
full body, yeah.
Yeah? So your whole face is bigger than my body?
Yeah. And somewhere it is probably covering someone's roof right now. I mean, I always think
Yeah.
of like hoardings like that, because ultimately all these flexes get reused as sort of protection against the rain.
So
So you
somewhere,
always, yeah,
before we just add water,
before we add water.
imagine, say, in we'll pick a town, say, near Aligarh,
Yeah.
there's a roof where there's a massive, say the film.
And just my nose is on it.
Yeah,
or just my
Nautanki
nostril.
Sala, let's say.
Correct.
is covering, and say there's a guy sleeping on that roof.
It's possible.
He's sleeping on your nose.
On my nose.
Imagine if he meets you. It's like what happened to this guard.
Yeah.
He's like, "Sir, आप
मैं तो तुम्हारी नाक पे सोता हूँ.
मैं आपके नाक पे 6 साल सोया था सर.
Yeah.
उसके बाद मैं यूके चला गया, पर मैं आपके नाक पे सो के बड़ा हुआ.
Yeah.
Imagine, look at the responsibility you carry, or your nose carries. You don't even know.
I don't know. Yeah.
We're so ungrateful. So ungrateful. Kunal,
Yes.
listen, we've got a listener special.
A listener special,
We
yes.
got things from our listeners. Our first listener is a guy called Sai Narayan. Sai has an excellent conundrum. It's a booze conundrum. We love booze conundrums. I was at a liquor shop in Gurgaon. They have a lot of fancy ones. They do absolutely have a lot of fancy alcohol in Gurgaon. In fact, there's some tax issue. Lots of people buy their alcohol in Gurgaon.
Yeah.
So he was buying Bushmills. It's an Irish whiskey that he likes a lot. He was at the counter making a payment when the gentleman next to me also making a payment for his buy. Engaged in conversation, asking, what whiskey is this? Thinking he's a fellow whiskey lover, I explained in great detail. It's from Ireland, how smooth it is, many more technical details. He heard me. When he finished, he said, par ye chadti nahi hogi. As in, you won't get high. He said that he paid for his buy and walked off. I could hear someone chuckle. My mind was playing games. I can't tell. But Sai has two conundrums.
Okay.
Is the sole purpose of drinking to get high or enjoy the drink? And from now, when I say Bushmills, the gentleman's voice reverberates in my ears. But chadti nahi hogi. And I can't enjoy it anymore. He raises an excellent conundrum about Indian drinking,
Yes.
which is you must immediately drink to get smashed.
I think the primary objective, and that's why, for a long time I'm okay with beer. But for many time I said, like, you're taking me too many beers to actually feel anything, to get a buzz. So stop drinking beer.
As you know, I spent a few months of the year in the UK, which is a country of certified alcoholics.
Right.
I mean, they drink a lot in that country.
A lot, yeah.
But it takes them a lot to get smashed.
Right.
So they'll start the evening with 2-3 gin and tonics. By midnight, they're smashed.
But you know
But
what
they
happens?
drink 14-15 drinks.
Yeah, but I think there are two factors here. Time and money.
Yeah.
Both they have. And the second thing is that they're done with work by 5-6 o'clock. And they have 3-4 hours to kill, Honestly, if you're there for 4 hours, even on a Saturday, Sunday, whatever, you have 4 hours of your life to spend in a place that is nice with other people, and you have time and money, right? So you can stretch out that period. What's
Enjoy
happened?
your drink.
Enjoy the drink, enjoy the company, enjoy the place
Friends.
you're having it in. You eat some garbage, you have your drinks, you throw up later, whatever. It's a full evening.
Gossip.
Yeah, it's a full event, But what I've
And how's
noticed,
Harish? That
yeah,
kind of-
all that kind of thing. What I've noticed in most like outside liquor stores, and this of course is a very stylish establishment that Sai went to, but generally by and large, you have these fenced liquor stores.
This is fascinating. You
It's
have to
got a
tell our
grill
listeners.
in front
Yeah.
of it. It's like, those shutters that they pull down, which are those, it's like a grill, like a mesh. And there's a small window in it. And I've seen this in small towns. I've seen this in many shops in Bombay, all over the place. And there's just enough space for a hand to go
Just
in
a
and come
hand.
out.
Just a hand.
And people line up. Otherwise, there's people outside saying, hey, line. All of that shit is going on. Otherwise, on a Friday evening or Saturday evening, you have people just putting their hands through that grill.
It's like a zoo.
It's like a zoo. And there's a guy who's behind the counter, which is like a security thing, okay? And he just, because people don't have money enough to buy a full bottle, half, is a big deal. Generally, it's a quarter, Sometimes it's 60 ml also. 60, RC 60. So all this is going on. People are shouting over the thing. He takes out
What is an RC60?
it's a Royal
small-
Challenge 60 ml, like what you get
Like
on a
a
flight.
airplane,
That.
yeah.
Or it's like you don't even get a quarter, you get a 120 also. It's like a slightly in between now size. So they get that, and he gives it in a plastic glass and a cold soda. Okay, so the guy grabs it from him. He cracks it open right outside the
Through
store.
a fight of hands.
Through all these hands, cracks it open, pours it into the glass, empties the soda into it.
Yeah.
Then a small packet of peanuts is given with a little packet, like it's just like it's a tiny little plastic transparent packet of peanuts. He pours the soda and pours the thing and chugs it right there outside the shop. Gut. Opens the peanuts, shoves it in her mouth. Just chews the fuck out of it. Somebody must be standing there just slapping him, saying "hat" from here, and he stupors out. And that's his
Friday
Saturday
night.
evening. That's a Friday
the
night.
highlight.
That is that.
Joyous it
And,
gets.
and that's the joy that he's getting. I'm saying that for him, and this is for majority number of people, who can't even afford to sit in a restaurant and get sozzled, because that takes time, and you have to order some chicken fingers, or you eat chicken stomachs. Stomachs is a big thing. chicken stomachs because they fry the stomachs and they give it to you in a plate. You don't get legs and all, or chicken
They
stomach
take
is
the shittiest part of the chicken.
the stomach. Yeah.
That guy's not even a cook that's working there, right?
No,
He's
but
just a guy.
and it's become a delicacy now. Chicken stomachs is a full thing.
And you sit
Plate.
down with like,
It's like a fried
old monk.
chicken. Yeah, there you can really relish your quarter or your thing. You
And
eat
that's
some
a
chicken.
sophisticated
That's
place.
a sophisticated chicken stomachs and a quarter of old monk.
Three men not
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like I've felt that if you really want to know India,
Yeah.
you have to go to a booze shop.
Yeah, that's where you really get a sense of economically where we stand. Say we're a growing nation. Yeah, we're growing. It's
It's all somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is where it's really happening. I've always felt that, like Calcutta, it's my hometown, which I always find quite idiosyncratic. I thought if you really want to know Calcutta, you have to go to the horse races, but never to where the rich people go. You have to go to where the 60-year-old man is betting on Black Beauty. Because that guy has been drinking from noon till 2. He just stumbles to the counter, which is also like a little prison. Right? And he'll put his head through and say, 30 rupees, Black Beauty, Black Beauty. And then he'll ask the guy, Ghona ta bhalo? Is it a good horse? It's like, and they'll have some history. And the guy selling him the ticket will come up with some bullshit. Like, Are, Ghodatar Baba, the father of that horse, was an army horse. He took part. The commander-in-chief has ridden him. Acha, 50, 50. And he'll buy that thing and he'll go. And he's going to sit there and they make the announcement. He'll lose money. He's like, just salah. And then throw the thing and his day is done.
That's it.
But that little hope was his day.
Yeah.
So this little thing where when he puts his hand through, anything can happen. There could be a lion biting his hand through. If he can manage that whiskey,
If he can just get his hands on it.
that tuck,
Yeah.
that little shot.
And I think that what we want actually is just a slap.
slap.
We just want to and that's why I think that sport that's going around the world, that slapping sport.
You love that sport.
I love that
We've
sport.
talked
It's like fart. Like people just slap each other. You have to stand there and take it.
We've talked about this on the podcast. You've gone into it in detail.
Yeah, and I think that in India, people do it without being physically slapped. I mean, your life is that. Like you're just commuting, you're in traffic, your life is basically how hard can you be slapped?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can you get up and can you take another slap? That's basically it. Right now,
And here the booze guy is just giving you that.
giving
and then nuts is that last bit.
that nuts is that just stuffing it in your face.
Because
and
there's
just
a
eating
guy
it and-
behind you holding your hair.
Yeah.
Saying, hut, salah.
Hut. And it's just like, and then you see that pile of cups and plastic packets just outside the shop. And it's just like a
And
Friday
people in the
evening.
West, they'll go out for a drink. They'll get to know about each other. Have a quiet drink. Leisurely Friday evening. This is this guy's night.
This is the night. So I think that
and
in
he'll
many
go home
ways.
and his wife is going to shout, fuck him up completely.
Yeah.
You're late by 2 hours.
But what Sai is asking is the sole purpose to get high or enjoy the drink? And I think that it definitely depends on your economic status on some
I've
levels.
always realized the richer you get in India, the less fun life gets. The wealthier you get in India, you try to live like you're in the West, but in India. So you
Yeah.
buy high-end alcohol, you sit with friends, you talk about some shit. Whereas I think the real India, the India that you like, the slapping India.
I like both.
That guy, look at his India, because so much more interesting. He's trying to get 5 minutes out of fun.
I don't wish that on myself. Let me make it very clear.
I understand, and you worked hard enough to not.
No, it's not
live
about that.
life.
I mean, I'm privileged enough to not have to lead that life. But what I'm saying is that it all depends on what you want from your evening.
Correct.
So-
and I feel like this guy, for value for evening, he's getting more because he knows how little time he has to squeeze for fun.
Yeah, it's like a little.
He's got off the central line and he's got to take the harbour line or the western line. He's literally got 30 minutes because his wife is waiting to fuck him up.
See, there's a squeeze of space.
She's got to beat the shit out of him.
Shit out of him. He's going to go home. I mean,
His boss has shouted at him. He's gone around in the rain. He's got 30 minutes. He knows he can see Peters, liquor. He knows the shop,
Yeah.
right? Pinky's wine. He knows. He sees the line. He knows I've got 9 minutes of joy.
Yeah.
And his joy starts in that walk,
Yeah.
right? And his joy is in that line. His joy is in that hut. Yes, hut. So people, and he puts his head in, he squeezes through all the people. He's like, hey, RC, hey, what was it? RC Chota. RC Chota. That's all part of his joy. Now that guy has no time to savor the liquor side.
No, he doesn't have time to savor it. What he's affording himself is that buzz post getting
And that
struggling
punch
through it.
that he's after,
that slap that he gets
Yeah.
off the liquor.
That's-
and
that-
that 20 minutes, half an hour of the ride, maybe back home or this thing, because he's not going to be able to do this at home. Maybe there
No.
are kids, maybe there's a wife, maybe there's nobody. He doesn't have the space to do it. So just that 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever this is going to last. And he's worked the day. I guess that's it's for
The booze makers also know this. So
they also
want
know
to
this.
give
They
you a
know
shot
how is
that
it going to be consumed. Like people like to do a lot of market research. How is this going to be had? And what are the circles?
So the marketer has told his boss at Diageo, sir, this shot has to set the man on fire.
Yeah.
उसको एक ही चांस मिलेगा लाइफ में. He may not be able to come back next. So उसको जला दो सर. उसको 4 मिनट में जला दो.
Jala do.
So that he'll never forget this.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of LSD or whatever.
Correct.
Tomorrow he'll wake up and be like, क्या हुआ था कल रात को, क्या हुआ था? So he won't remember shit. That's what the booze has to do.
That's what it has to
He
do.
doesn't have the comfort of size Bushman. But also what it's done is that the genie, that he's going to, like this guy, the ghost of this other guy, is going to haunt Sai forever.
Which is every time Sai drinks, he's going to hear that guy coming over the shoulder saying,
Ah,
"Chadti
chadti
nahi
nahi
hogi,
hai."
chadti nahi hogi.
What are you doing with all your money and all your class?
Yeah.
Nothing. Fuck all.
Yeah. He doesn't even get you high.
No. He's going to Sai, he's telling Sai, come to my India.
Come to my side.
Come, I'll show you what booze means.
Yeah.
I'll show you what India is. That's what he's saying. We have a very interesting conundrum. It's from a woman called Danika. And she says she loves listening to our podcast. She listens to it on her way to work. Her conundrum is that she's moved to Canada recently. And she feels that she needs to act or become more desi than she usually is in India. Which includes her talking in Hindi to Indians. And her having to learn about Indian culture since she now needs to represent India to foreigners. Should she focus on turning completely Indian or abandon everything and turn Canadian?
Well, I think that you had pointed out that now that she's gone abroad, there's no other route for her but to be fully Indian now.
See, now if you want to be a traditional Indian person,
Yeah.
I've realized you have to be an NRI.
If you want to be a real,
Indian person.
Yeah.
With full Indian values. You have
Yeah.
to be an NRI.
like hardcore beliefs and all that.
Hardcore.
I think what Danika should do, I mean, obviously she has two options only, which
Yeah.
is so.
One is make no Indian friends.
Yeah.
Like go with a goal that you'll come back to India.
Yeah.
You're paying good money. So only meet Canadian people.
See, I
With
think
the theory that you can always meet Indians in India.
I think that
It's a little bit racist.
Yeah. I think what my brother-in-law did is the best thing. He went to one of these places. He went to the UK. Spent 10 years, 11 years there. Like say Danika goes to Canada, becomes a citizen. He became a citizen there. Got a job there. Lovely job. And then with that firm and that company came back to India as a citizen of that country.
Superb.
So basically what happens is that you are Canadian or you are British being paid as a Canadian or as a British person, but you're living the cultural life in India.
Superb.
So in a sense, I think that makes more sense for most NRIs, right? You just go there, become a citizen and then come back. Basically what you're saying, you want to be paid in like dollars or whatever, that's very tempting to you. So then you come back after that. Once you're a citizen, you come and live here. You get a job with that company because in any case, location doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then you can continue being as Indian as you need to be.
So in the future, you're saying the West will be empty.
Yeah.
Because people will just go there to work for a bit and then go back to their home countries.
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
And that'll be great for the West also because they want it to be less diverse.
Yeah.
It's too diverse. Let's
It's
say
too
that.
much.
Too much. So they're saying now this will be less. But we don't. The difficulty is that I find myself talking much more about India when I'm abroad. I've got to a point where I want to make up some shit about India.
That's always a good opportunity to make up stuff.
But there are family WhatsApp groups now. People Google. It was much better in the 80s.
When you could say anything.
You went for a short holiday. You went back. You're like, you know what they have now in Bombay? They have flying auto rickshaws. What do you say? Yeah, it's big. It's catching on now. It's a big thing over there. Now you know what they're allowing. The police nowadays, they use one of the things they're doing is they're using these little two-wheelers and they're shooting people in the face. Whatever, just some stuff like that.
With a cactus.
With a cactus. They're hitting people in the face with a cactus. So they're like, yeah, India's totally changed. India's become completely different. Or where you don't know where AI has gone in India. People are replacing their parents with AI. Society's become something else. And you could say anything.
So what you're saying is that you should be able to say some amount of lies.
You should be. The whole point of leaving India was that you should be able to invent your India.
But I think more than invent your India is invent yourself.
Reinvent yourself.
Yeah. But now I'm saying
that was the great freedom. Reinvent yourself with an India in your head.
Generally, you were trying to say that I want to be someone else.
Yeah.
You're saying that I want to be this. I want to be a different person. I don't want to be restricted or bound by what preconceived notions people have of me. And then if you go there and you become exactly who you were here, it's not a bad thing if you're comfortable with that. But if you do want to reinvent yourself, then would you reinvent yourself as a Indian person or just as a person of that land or of that country or of that community?
I think that in the old days you had to integrate because there were only 4 Indians and everybody else was Canadian. Now there are so many Indians, you don't have to. Also, if you show up to Canada and say, I used to be a doctor in Bangalore. Only now in Canada, I work, I'm working in a supermarket, whatever. But in India, I used to be a doctor. Trouble is now if you work in a supermarket in Canada, everyone else is from Bangalore also. So then they'll say, where were you a doctor? You'll say, whatever, Bishop Cotton Medical College. He's like, oh, my dad is there right now. So you can't even lie. Like the West has become, everyone is Indian.
Everyone's Indian.
So there's no way to run away from India. Unless you pick a country like Greenland or Paraguay, my favorite country right now, where there aren't very many Indians.
Yeah.
Canada, impossible. UK, impossible. US, impossible. The only thing Danica can do abroad is just be more Indian.
That's the
Because
only.
by default, you become more Indian.
Yeah.
You start going to the temple and all. Like stuff that you never do in India.
So basically you're saying that by default now she's going to end up being
Why do
more
you think
Indian?
there are so many people interested in Indian politics abroad?
More so than in
Because
India.
they have loads of downtime. Damn expensive to go anywhere for fun.
Yeah.
So basically, while the white people are out bowling or playing tennis, they're sitting there going, Modi, Modi. Because you've got time. You've got time. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think in the old days, it was proper lonely. Like a proper go abroad. There'd be no people. There'd be racism. But now the only racism comes from other Indians only.
Towards other Indians.
Towards other Indians. Before you get to the white people.
Yeah.
You won't even reach there.
There are many layers of racism now.
Yeah. You're like, white people racism is the dream. But I've only met Sailesh since I've come.
Yeah.
So I haven't even met anyone.
Oh, you're from Pune. Oh.
Where in Pune?
Where? I'm from Kalyani Nagar.
Wait,
Oh.
I'm just going to get your brother slapped over there. 1 second. 1 second. It's like that. Final conundrum
Yes.
from Jayesh.
Jayesh?
It's
Okay.
a great conundrum. It's a speed breaker conundrum. We don't often get speed breaker conundrums.
No.
Why are there so many distinct sizes of speed breakers in India? Sometimes while driving in a span of 1 kilometer, you come across 5 or 6 different size speed breakers. Some are tiny and shy. Excellent explanation. While others are huge and overconfident. It feels like they're going through some identity crisis. If their job is to break speed, why can't we have a standardized the bump? Because I think we've talked about this a little bit. The speed breaker is made based on how those guys making the speed breaker get along with each other that night.
How they're feeling.
How they're feeling, how much they've drunk, how many of those RC bottles they've had. Because if they are pissed with their employer, they're like, "You bastard, overtime hasn't come. I'm going to make this huge. You just see what a hump I make this. I want to make this a wall."
Yeah.
The car is not the concern.
Last thing.
Last concern. The driver will come and deal with his own shit.
So,
The bastard, 2 of my checks are outstanding. I'm going to make this a ball. Not even going to make it a cylindrical thing.
yeah, no, I think there's so many different types. You have the small bumps, you have the small rubber ones, they're like in black and yellow with the nails in them, and then they put them
Those
all
are the
in a-
little ones. Near the airport you get them.
They're sort of rumblers or whatever they call. Then you have the even small round one, which is
Those are nice.
but it's a little high.
Yeah.
Especially in buildings when they do that single high bump. It's like a one
That's also,
semicircle.
again, not based on anything but the building secretary saying,
Yeah.
ek bada speed bump banao.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
And then you have that long oval one, which is like a small hillock.
That guy was pissed.
Yeah.
That
that's
guy was
like
pissed with his boss.
It's like idhar se 4 meter aage tak lena. It's like a huge bump like that. Like your car doesn't fit over. Like both your wheels can be on that speed breaker at
That
the same
guy
time.
who made that bump is
Yeah.
like, हम लोग चोरी करता है.
Yeah.
हम अब बोल रहे हैं हम लोग सूट ये सब चोरी किया दिखा था तुमको. He would make that bump
Yeah.
in revenge. The sufferer is the car 6 days later.
Yeah.
They'll never meet. They're done. My favorite is the bump where you go over the bump and you think you've crossed it, and then that last bit the car gets hit. It's that last. Your driver's done the nicest thing possible. Just go over the bump, just right at there.
Yeah.
That's what
That's the one where both your wheels are on the speed breaker,
Yeah.
and the center of the car,
yeah.
the bottom center of the car is getting grated by the speed
Scratching
breaker.
it, isn't it?
Because it doesn't make any sense. It's so wide. It's like from wheel to wheel, your whole car is on the speed breaker, and the center part of your car, the sides, what the bottom fenders or whatever they call them, getting scratched.
Unless there's one option we haven't explored, which is the speed bump maker as a sadist.
I think that's generally the case.
Right. Because personal conflicts, I'll ruin the speed breaker is one
Yeah.
thing. But that guy is genuinely a sadist.
I think that the speed breaker, they don't want to standardize it because they constantly want to take you by surprise.
Yeah.
It's constantly like, this is something new.
This won't be a big one. Promise, promise.
This is not. Oh, it is very big. It is very big. This is much bigger than I expected. So it's that constant sense of you, like when they say "Pude Gati-rodhaks aaye," which is that there is a speed breaker ahead.
Yeah.
You don't know what kind of Gati-rodhak.
Yeah.
Like a Gati-rodhak doesn't necessarily mean it's a speed breaker. Like in
And
our
it might
country,
be referring to the speed at which your life is going.
exactly, and
Not
it could be
necessarily
a
a car is
person,
good.
it could be an animal,
Yeah.
it could be it could be anything.
Yeah.
And I've always thought of
It could be a totally naked guy called Sudhir just standing there.
Yeah, and whenever I see,
Abhi yahi hai, abhi yahi hai.
this is
breaker nahi hai, bas abhi
you
yahi
have to stop.
Abhi
there's
rokna padega, sir.
a food cart,
Yeah.
there's a vendor.
Yeah.
So whenever I see Pude Gati-rodhaks aaye, I think of my whole life.
Yeah.
And I think of life like that's what India is constantly telling you.
Yeah.
That no matter how fast you're going,
Yeah. I put a dwarf on a pig juggling.
juggling, and this is going to slow
Stop
you
you.
down,
It'll
stop you in your tracks.
Stop you.
So no matter if you're driving a car, you're driving a bike, you're walking, or you're not doing anything, you're not even traveling. The
One
speed
second, one
breaker
second.
is going to be there.
1 second.
Your life is going to be put on hold because Pude Gati-rodhaks aahe.
And so many things. Like life was going fine. Then suddenly GST. Life
That's
was
what.
going fine. Demonetization.
Money is not money.
Yeah, suddenly everything's going fine. There's a flood.
Now your foreign travel will be taxed at 5,000-7,000%.
Yes.
Now 7 people are going to be the chief minister. Everything, like what is Pude Gati-rodhaks. And that's why...
We will stop you at whatever speed you're
And that's why you cannot standardize. See, you can't standardize obstacles.
Yeah.
You know, like because then people get used to obstacles. Everyone gets used to, like, if every year the government or a teacher or your wife or a child or your friends told you that, listen, this is going to be the obstacle, and you're going to have, you'd be prepared, right? Like if they did the single size speed breaker everywhere, I'd know how to tackle it.
And
I'd
you're
be
saying the whole charm of India is not the not knowing.
It's
There is an obstacle coming.
We don't know. It
We don't know what it
could
is.
be inverted speed breakers also. It could be a crater.
It could not be a speed breaker.
Maybe there's nothing. Maybe we just put the sign there just to fuck with you.
But something's coming.
Something is coming
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's missing in India.
Yeah.
India, something is coming. Just add water.
Just add water.
This has been Our Last Week.
It has.
You can get in touch with us at ourlastweek@audiomatic.in. We are also at patreon.com/Our
Last week, yes.
We were very nervous today because our producers were in the room,
Yeah.
who are infinitely funnier people than us. But they are so funny that they choose not to do this for a living.
Yeah.
They subject their third-rate artists to this sort of thing. Because I like that skill in people where they're like, nahi, tu naach, nahi.
कर ले.
तू नाच तू
कर ले.
नहीं मैं नाच सकता हूँ तू नाच
कर लो.
तू भी
You were listening to Our Last Week, produced by Rajesh Tahil and Avdut Khanolkar, hosted by Anuvab Pal and Kunaal Roy Kapoor, assistant producer Akanksha Kadam.